20 years before the galaxy knew his name. Ethan Cole was just a ranch boy on the frontier moon Ravel 6 Dusty. Sunburnt world where humans raised thun-pooved, grawlings, and tried not to provoke the wild creatures that lurked beyond the fences. He was 10. And that day, the day everything changed. He found a wounded alien girl hiding in his barn. The promise of a child. Ethan had been hauling hay when he heard a soft whimper. He froze. Ravel 6 had predators, ones with fangs long enough to bite through steel. Slowly, he lifted a pitchfork. "Who's there?" he whispered. A small shape moved behind the crate skin, faintly silver. Long hair braided with pieces of crystal, and bright violet eyes full of fear. She wasn't human. She was one of the reclusive star-born species called astrolins. Her arm bled glowing blue. "Please," the girl shivered. "They're hunting me." Ethan dropped the pitchfork instantly. He wasn't brave. He wasn't a hero, but he couldn't ignore someone who needed help. "Come on," he said gently, taking off his small jacket. "My ma's a healer. She'll fix you up." The girl flinched. "You're human. You should not touch me." "Why not?" "Because my people say humans are dangerous." Ethan shrugged. "Ma says everyone bleeds. That makes everyone worth helping." The alien girl blinked in surprise. He escorted her inside. His mother nearly dropped her pot when she saw the Australian child, but she didn't hesitate. Together, they cleaned the wound, wrapped it, fed her warm broth. Night fell. The girl curled by the fireplace like she had never known warmth. Ethan sat beside her. "What's your name?" he whispered. "Cyrilla," she replied softly. He smiled. "I'm Ethan." She studied his dusty hat and his belt buckle, confused. "What is your role, Ethan?" "I'm a cowboy," he said proudly. "Or one day I will be." Cyrilla nodded with solemn importance, as if he had claimed a noble title. Silence passed. Fire crackled. She leaned her head on his shoulder, tired, trusting him. And then, without warning, she said, "When I grow up, I'll be your wife." Ethan choked on his water. "What? Why?" "Because you saved me," she said simply. "And among my people, a life debt is sacred." Ethan laughed awkwardly. "You're a kid." "I'm a kid." "You'll forget about this in a week." Her violet eyes hardened with determination. "I won't forget." But the universe had other plans. At dawn, Australian guardians arrived, glowing armor, silent as stars. They took Cyrilla away. Before she left, she touched Ethan's hand. "I will return." He watched their ship rise into the sky. He never saw her again. 22 years, Littoral 6 grew rougher over the decades. Raiders, pirates, corrupt corporations. Ethan grew too into a tall, sharp-eyed cowboy with a plasma revolver on his hip, a wide-brim hat, and a reputation for doing what was right even when it was stupid. The day started like any other. He was mending fences. Dust blowing, sun blazing. Then a shadow covered the ranch. A colossal star yacht descended, sleek silver hull, glowing runes, royal banners. Ethan stepped back, shielding his eyes. What in the galaxy? The ramp lowered, boots touched dirt. A figure walked toward him, tall, elegant, wearing armor woven from starlight. Her hair shimmered silver blue, braided with crystals. Her eyes, those violet eyes, lit up. Ethan Cole. He nearly dropped his tools. Cyrilla. She smiled softly. But she wasn't the little girl anymore. She was 22. an adult Australian, and her presence felt like the entire sky had shifted to look at him. You grew, Ethan mumbled like an idiot. You did too, she replied with a teasing grin. He stumbled back. Why are you why here? She stepped closer. Do you remember the promise? Ethan's heart jumped. You mean when you said yes? Her voice softened. When I grow up, I'll be your wife. He turned bright red. You were a kid. Kids say things. I was serious, she said. He swallowed. You're royalty now. She nodded slowly. Yes, I am Crown Empress of the Australian Dominion as of 3 months ago. Ethan froze completely. Empress. And I have returned, she continued calmly, to fulfill my vow. He staggered back, nearly tripping over the feeding trough. Ma'am, your Radiance Emperors, whatever, I'm just a rancher. I fix fences. I chase animals with bad attitudes. I ain't Cyrilla. Closed the distance in one stride and gently pressed a glowing hand to his chest. You're the boy who gave me warmth when I had none, she whispered. You're the one who saved my life. Titles mean nothing next to that. Ethan felt his breath catch. The heat of her touch wasn't physical, it was like being seen completely. But he shook his head. You live among stars. I live in dust. She smiled faintly. Then I will stand in dust with you. Asterisk the attack before he could answer. A warning siren blared. A pirate dropship tore through the clouds, marked with the crimson sigil of the Skull Marauders. The most dangerous gang in 3 systems, Ethan cursed. They've been stalking the ranch for weeks. Cyrilla's eyes sharpened like blades. They followed me. The dropship's cannons charged. Ethan grabbed her arm. Get behind me. She almost laughed. Ethan, I command an empire. Well, I command a ranch. Same thing right now. The pirates opened fire. Ethan shoved Cyrilla behind a grav hauler and drew his plasma revolver. Beams scorched the ground around them. Cyrilla raised her hand and a shimmering shield of light erupted, stopping the next barrage. The pirates hesitated. Empress, their leader shouted, hand yourself over and we maybe won't kill the human. Ethan spat dust. Wow, real generous. Cyrilla's face hardened royal, fearsome. She whispered, they want to use me as a bargaining chip against my own throne. She stepped forward ready to surrender to save him. Ethan grabbed her wrist. No, he growled. You don't give yourself up. Not for me. Not for anyone. Their eyes met. And in that moment, Ethan made a decision that would change the galaxy. Stay behind me, he said. Then he charged. A lone human cowboy against 30 armed pirates. Most men would have called him insane. But Cyrilla watched with widening eyes as Ethan dodged blasts, rolled behind cover, fired precise shots, and used nothing but grit and fury to drive them back. He fought like someone protecting the most precious thing he'd ever known. Why? Why does he risk his life for me? She whispered. An Australian guard beside her answered quietly, because humans don't need life debts. Their hearts are enough. Cyrilla felt something tighten painfully in her chest. She lifted both hands and unleashed a pulse of star energy that sent the pirates flying and disabled the dropship. Silence fell over the ranch. Ethan stood, panting, dust-covered, bruised, smiling like an idiot. Told you I could handle it, he muttered. She ran to him. Asterisk, the return of the promises. Erla cupped his face hands, glowing. Gentle, you risked everything, she whispered. He shrugged. Couldn't let them take you, Ethan. In my culture, binding vows are not made lightly. When I promised to be your wife, I meant it with the whole of my heart. He exhaled slowly. And what if I said yes? He asked quietly. Her violet eyes brightened. Then I give you my stars. He stepped closer. And what if I said, I don't deserve you? She placed a finger on his lips. Let me decide what you deserve. Ethan looked into her eyes, and for the first time since he was a boy, he felt the universe open. Slowly, shyly, he touched her hand. I guess, he said softly, I ain't laughing anymore. Her smile illuminated the entire ranch. Asterisk epilogue. The cowboy and the empress. A month later. Ravel 6 witnessed a sight no one ever thought possible. The Estrellant fleet filled the sky, and at the center of it, on a simple ranch beneath twin suns, a human cowboy and a starborn empress exchanged vows, the kind that echoed through two civilizations. When I grow up, I'll be your wife, Cyrilla whispered in the ancient Estrellan. Tongue. Ethan squeezed her hands. And I'll spend my whole damn life making sure you never regret it. Two worlds united that day, but more importantly, hearts that met in a dusty barn finally kept a promise, written across decades and starlight. Asterisk.